With us tonight, John Heilman, author, journalist, our national affairs analyst, co-host and executive producer of The Circus on Showtime, which is thankfully back on the air, also executive editor over at The Recount, and Michael Steele, former chairman of the Republican National Committee, former lieutenant governor of Maryland, these days the host of the Michael Steele podcast and a senior advisor for the Lincoln Project. So, Michael, I was looking at the pictures tonight of Viceroy Pence, the head of the military district of Washington, reviewing the National Guard troops outside in the absence of a functioning president. And I was looking at the Rob Portman quote, and I'm sitting here wondering what Republicans are ready to take the Donald Trump training wheels off, put on their big boy and girl pants, and be a political party.
That doesn't exist. The reality of the Republican Party right now with respect to Donald Trump is he owns it. He bought it. He reshaped it. He figured out where, what was in the closet and he exposed it internally in a way that, people like embarrassed and they don't want to say anything. And that's what the Portman statement boils down to. You cannot, in the face of what happened last week, just place the blame squarely where it belongs and state that and say, as a United States Senator, based on what I lived through and what I saw with my own eyes and what I heard come out of the president's mouth, and what even some members of this body and the body across the hall in the House said, there's no way that I can do anything other than convict. But that's not where this party is. And I think we really, Brian, I have to say it again. I've been saying it now for 2-3 years. Donald Trump figured this out a long time ago. And he keeps relying on the fact that people continue to want to treat him like he really was president, like he really was George Bush or Barack Obama, and would behave accordingly. And that's the point. And that's not how he's behaved. His superpower is the fact that he doesn't give a damn. And that's what his base loves about him. You talk to them, and one of the first things they will tell you is, I like the fact that he goes into the room and he's willing to break furniture and he's willing to break glass. They like that about him. So his running around right now acting like the poor little victim because he's upset that he lost an election, but it's telling everybody he won and they're believing it. That's the symbiosis. It feeds off itself. So, we got a week left, but it gets worse after this week. It does. And I think folks outside the party have to get ready for that.
John Heilman, I watched your reporting last night from the melee. At one point, there's a boom that goes off near you, and when you flinched, I flinched. You were there. You saw it. You've seen the forces of darkness. Perhaps you heard the professor in our first segment tonight talk about the notion of impeachment as vehicle for martyrdom and the fact that a lot of folks in this MAGA crowd aren't going away.
Yeah, Brian, I mean, it broke my heart. I had started out last Wednesday. I was watching what I thought was going to be a farcical set of proceedings on television in a townhouse over in Georgetown. And as soon as the thing started, I ran out and got in the car with my crew and bolted up there to the Hill. And literally, you could see it in my face, as we got there and watched what was happening, the spectacle that was unfolding. And I'm still, honestly, I've been down in Washington I just got back up to New York. I've been down there all week this week, and my heart's been broken, throughout, seeing the city transformed into, a kind of a version of the green zone right now. It's like I've never seen, even after 9/11, the days after 9/11, Washington did not feel as locked down, as militarized, as vacant, as scary and on edge as it does right now. So all of that, it paints the picture of where we are right now. And of course, the reality is, that 25 years ago, in April of 1995, when Oklahoma City happened, I got on a plane out of Washington and flew to Oklahoma City, where the Murrah building had just been blown up. And I keep raising this with people because, to me, there's a direct line. If you go back to Timothy McVeigh, if you go back to the Michigan militias, if you go back, that story, I know you remember it vividly, you covered it. this undercurrent has been there throughout. I mean, goes back further than that, but even in our recent past. And I think it's important to understand that because it tells you that this is not about Donald Trump. Trump was an accelerant. Michael made the point. He pulled stuff out of the closet. He's been gasoline and a match on top of. But the tinder was all there. It was there before, and it's going to be there after he's gone. And I don't know what's going to happen to Trump, but I'll tell you that I do think that the impeachment was necessary. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to feed a certain kind of what you've just called martyrdom, and that it's not going to do nothing to change the underlying cultural, political, social dynamics that have given rise to this movement on the right that I fear is driving us towards an era of increasing and increasingly normal, unfortunately, acts of political violence in the country.
Yep.
Both of these gentlemen have agreed to stay with us. We're just going to squeeze in a break and continue our conversation on the other side.